Man, did you see that disaster last night? And by that, of course, I mean the debate. What a mess, huh? Do I have you centered here right? You can see both lanterns so that you know that we're in real trouble. Uh, what a mess. I got up. I was just disgusted. Before before it started, I had a feeling of foreboding. I did not have a good feeling about this debate coming up. I don't know why I don't have ESP. I don't see in the future. I just didn't. Did not feel good about this. Pardon me. It's early morning, and I haven't had enough of this yet. Yeah, the only commie idea liberals hate. Uh, and then a friend of mine texted me right before, and he said Reagan needs. I mean, not Reagan. Trump needs to be Reagan-esque in this tonight. And I said, well, yeah, I don't have any hopes for that. I'll just take if he can do what he did with Biden. Trump is not Reagan-esque. Reagan would have mopped the floor with her last night. Uh, Vance would have rubbed the floor with her last night. Tulsi Gabbard would have mopped the floor with her last night. Most people would have mopped the floor. Sadly, Trump devolved into his usual angry, not finishing sentences, all over the place self. Now, let me say before I get into this any farther, I am supporting Trump 100%. You know why? Well, first off, I think he did a lot of good things. But the second reason is because the other option is Kamala Harris. Simple as that. So I make no bones about who I support in this. But he just did a horrible job. It was, I wished they could undo it and I could unsee it. And of course, this morning, I never checked Drudge because they're nothing but a liberal rag anymore. But I did today, and of course, I saw what I expected to see, and that was how wonderful she did, and she just crushed it, and she just slam dunked him and all that, and yeah, they're going to say that, and then I watched some of the more conservative outlets and they're all making excuses for Trump. Well, it wasn't his best night. It wasn't this. It wasn't that. But they're all complaining, and I've checked a couple of channels, and to see what they were saying, because I don't usually check other channels, but I thought it would be interesting to see what they were saying. And the main line for the more conservative, the right, is that, well, but she lied. She lied repeatedly, and and boy, he set her straight, and he came up with the fact. Well, first off, yes, she did lie. What do you expect? She's a liar. She's a liberal. She's a communist, and that's what they do. And then they'll say, well, it was 3-on-1. Well, yes, it was ABC. What do you expect, right? He knew that when he agreed to it, and so they're trying to explain this away that, well, but she lied repeatedly, and he set her straight. Well, okay, she lied. Do you know how many people have been convinced throughout history by lies? You see, here's the game that we're trying to win. We're trying to win the undecided. I have said that repeatedly. The left has, and too many people I've heard say, well, I think everybody's already decided, who they're going to vote for. No, they haven't. No, they haven't. Millions of people, you'll be able to ask them the night before the election, and they'll say, well, I'm not sure. I'm just waiting to see if anybody says anything that really reaches out and grabs me. Trump lost big last night. Make no mistake. He lost big. Doesn't matter that he was right. Doesn't matter that she lied. He lost tons of votes. Now, do you remember? Uh, I'm sorry that I'm just telling the truth. Just telling the truth. I've been watching. I've been watching politics for a long time, and I've been studying the stupidity of the American voter for a long time, and I understand the stupidity of the American voter. Not you, of course, because you're here, but it's why we get the people we get, right? An uninformed citizenry destroys a country, and our country has been has been in the process of being destroyed for a long time. If we just kind of go through it, and I didn't write it down. Once I get done with this, I'll probably say, "Oh, I forgot to say that, and I forgot to say that, and I forgot to say that." Doesn't matter, because you'll be able to think of other examples yourself. But she kept throwing stuff out, and here did I say 3-1, right? The moderators weren't fair. Okay, if you agree to something, don't complain. The moderators weren't fair. They fact checked him a lot, and they were wrong. Okay, they were wrong. Doesn't matter, because this isn't a fight between who's right and who's wrong, or who lies and who doesn't. It's a fight for those undecided voters. And people need to realize that. And she won. Make no mistake, she won. Because she sure turned a lot of people her way. Now let's take a couple. Oh, and of course, Taylor Swift came out. Taylor Swift. And people will make fun of that. She came out with a very carefully and well-worded statement. Well-worded. I mean, she was better than both of them last night, and I am not a Taylor Swift fan. I really don't like her. I told Kelly, I said, as a result of her coming out in support of Kamala Harris, the Chiefs will not win the Super Bowl this year. Can't imagine that God would let them after this. Unless Kelsey breaks up with her. That's what I said. Unless Travis Kelce breaks up with her, the Chiefs will not win the Super Bowl. So that's for all of you wanting to know who to put your money on. Don't put it on the Chiefs unless he breaks up with her. And he won't, because he's a lib himself. But what was some of the things that they said? Okay, let's just take a couple of examples. Now he did say he started off well, and I thought about the first 2 minutes, I said, "Oh man, she's losing it," because she came off sounding dumb. We know that she sounded dumb through the whole thing, but again, remember, she came out through the whole thing. She was making these. I'm not going to try to act it. I'll look gay if I try to act like her, but she with her facial expressions and her she was working that hard all night long. But see, that works. It works to the undecided female out there, and her undecided female male sitting next to her, waiting for her to tell him what he should do. But he asked at the very beginning, you have to ask yourselves, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? He should have stuck with that. And she came off sounding stupid, but then she cut her stride, and then she went to running with the lies. Now, there were several things in there. For instance, the thing about he needs to stop being so hyperbolic. Okay, he needs to stay with the facts. But he can't control himself. He's all over the place. For like when he said that there are, when they were talking about abortion, and he talked about states executing babies. There's nobody executing a baby. Now, you and I both know what he was talking about. He was talking about the situations, and they have happened. They have happened. And the Democrats defend this, to where the baby who has been born, I think it was the Democrat governor of Virginia said this, if a baby's born, we set it aside, and then we decide what we want to do with it. Okay? That's right. And that means, do we give it life support treatment? Or do we allow it to just lay there and die? That's the way he should have said it. Instead, he says, and executing babies. To which case they came back and said, there are no states that allow, and it's very superior, like, you stupid idiot. What are you talking about? There are no states that allow that. And, which made him look stupid, not to you and me, but to the undecided, to the, to the masses, to the unwashed masses out there. They're washed, but they spend more time on their grooming than they do on paying attention to what's going on in the world. So that made him look stupid. He needs to stay away from those kinds of things, and then that allows Kamala to roll her eyes and make a face and all this. And when he said, he said about her, he says she's a Marxist. Her father was a Marxist professor, and and we know that to be true, right? We know that to be true because we know who her father was. But when he said that, she went, one of these faces. Oh, you idiot! What in the world are you talking about? Well, you see, most people don't know anything about her father, and so they look at him like he's an idiot. And she is just like, she's astounded that he could be such an idiot, right? Remember, you have to play to the undecideds. We don't have to win our side. We're not going to win their side. We have to win the middle. And really, I was pretty disappointed in him. And he did the whole Trump thing, he won't finish a sentence. He interrupts himself. I do this too sometimes. I know that. But I'm not running for president. The fate of the world doesn't depend on what Steve Smith says in a sentence. But he interrupts himself all the time. He doesn't finish a point. We can see the point in his gibberish. I know that's unkind. We can see the point in his New York talk. No offense to you New Yorkers, but I mean, street talk, okay? All over the place. They do it in Kansas City too, salesman and things like that. And that's what he is, he's a blue collar guy with billions of dollars because he's a New York developer. Okay, he's a hustler. He's a talker, but he gets wound up in his own words too much, and he'll interrupt. He'll be right making a point, and then he'll interrupt himself and go off on these other things that do have something to do with what he's talking about, but only you and I realize it because we already know the situation. The undecideds don't know. They don't know anything about it. They've never heard anything about it. They're going, what? And, of course, it allows people like the moderators and Kamala Harris to go, what are you talking about? He didn't back up his statements with facts enough. Just like the situation about, he's about all the migrants, the immigrants coming in and cooking the cats and dogs in, Springfield, Ohio? Well, that was on the news, but he said that, and of course the moderators, there are no reports. We talked to the city manager, and that is not happening. And instead of coming right back at them and saying it was on the news, you can see the pictures, this is what's happening, he just kind of like, well, the city manager is not going to tell you that, which we get. He was not direct. He was not forceful. He came off as angry. He lost his cool. I mean, how did we not all say and talk about the fact that she had to get him off his game. She had to get him riled. We knew it. That means he knew it. Or at least his advisors knew it. And he did lose his cool. The faces that she made worked. Not on you and I. We found it disgusting. It worked. Trust me. Take my word for it on the undecided people out there. His smirks did not work. Did not work. I know that a lot of people on our side are going to try to make themselves feel better about this. You know, if you look back, and I watched Tulsi Gabbard this morning on some show, I don't even know what it was, trying to defend his performance. She did her best, you know, and she said, which is the truth. He told the truth. She lied. When has that ever mattered in American politics? Huh? Now, we don't say that our side should lie. We want to stay within the protective bubble of truth, right? And we hope it'll set us free. But we have to make our points. We have to call the lies. We have to combat the lies with the truth, backed up by the facts and the information in a way that the average undecided voter can understand in a compelling way and in a way that will influence them. He did not do that. He did not do that at all. Now, I'll be honest, where we go from here. I mean, go back to, and I interrupted myself, but I'm not running for president. Go back to Tulsi Gabbard and how she just sliced and diced Harris when she was running for president. She did it beautifully. I'll be honest. I know a lot of people out there don't like Tulsi Gabbard because of this or that and the other thing. And I've been promoting Gabbard for a couple of years now. But she started coming out and becoming a conservative. And I had so many people just come out, I never trust her. She's a Democrat. Yeah, have you ever listened to her? She might disagree with you on a couple of things. Ooh, how about that? Guys, our country's in trouble. And it's in more trouble now than it was this time yesterday because of that debate. Like I said earlier, remember after, or maybe I think I said it earlier. Do you remember after the RNC, Republican National Convention? He had just been shot. He came in with a thing on his ear. That place exploded. The whole country pretty much accepted there was no way he could lose. No way. Shoo in. And then they pulled Biden, right? And we laughed. Ha! They're replacing her with Kamala. Oh my gosh, she's worse than Biden. We really have it made now. Because she's such a dunce. Well, she wasn't a dunce last night. She showed her prosecutor skills, and that's not a compliment. And she used her snarkiness and her facial expressions and her we care and I have a plan. And I'll tell you right now, I would not be shocked if she wins. I wouldn't. All she has to do now, and they came out with a taunting message last night, like her camp. That was fun. Let's do it again. Well, yeah, I bet it was. If Trump's smart, he won't do it again. Because he did not show last night that, to me, that he can control himself. He had a shot of controlling. He had a shot of being a statesman, which is a stretch for him. I get it. But he had a shot. All he had to do was act like he did with Biden. And he didn't do it. He lost it. He became frustrated. He became angry. And people saw it. People saw it. The people who support him will try to explain it away. I'm not going to try to explain it away. It is what it is, as they say. And we have to recognize it. And now we got to get out there. But all she has to do to win this thing, in my opinion, is keep her head down and make commercials. That's all she's got to do. Because that's what the undecideds are going to base their decisions on. She'll come out and they'll show pictures of her smiling. I'll agree. People make fun of her. She's got a good smile. And they can actually find pictures of her. I mean, we know there's plenty of pictures that make her look like what she is. But they can find pictures of her that make her look very presentable. very, very attractive. Younger pictures. And with a tagline that's simple enough for the morons who haven't decided yet to understand. Something like, an opportunity economy. I have a plan. We're going forward, not back. Just stuff like that. And she'll have a good chance of winning. You know why else she'll have a good chance of winning? That friend of yours who won't vote. The people who watch this that won't vote. The people who watch the other channel who won't vote. Because they become so disgusted. Oh yeah, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted. But I am more disgusted at the thought of what will happen if she wins. You know where this country's going if she wins. I said this before. If she wins, I don't think there's any going back. No going back. No coming back for this country. This is the most consequential election in my lifetime, maybe ever, in the United States history. And if she wins, it's over. If he wins, who knows? We have a reprieve. I don't think we have a long reprieve. But I will say this. I should have said this. My dream would be Trump Vance, 4 years. Vance Gabbard for 8 years. Gabbard whoever, 8 years. And maybe we would have a chance of bringing this country back to where it ought to be. Oh, but I don't like Gabbard because of something she said. Or she disagrees with me. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. That's the problem with our side. Our side's been shooting themselves in the foot forever. Shooting holes in our own canoe, as I say. Because they don't like this or that. Well, they say that that people get the government they deserve. Well, some do. The rest of us don't. We don't deserve this. I don't. You don't, right? So we need to get out there and try to do something about it. I just made this video. Will you share it? Will you pass this on to other people? Will you talk to your friends? I will. Will you talk to people that you know about the importance of this election and the real differences between these two candidates and the two parties? Will you do that? Will you get involved? Will you do your part? That's what it's going to come down to. So, man, what a deal. But it's a new world. It's a different race than it was yesterday. And it's a race. So we will see what happens. And I'm sure that I'll have more to say about it. You all have a good day. Remember that America needs a reversion or more. And we'll see who's going to be a part of it. Have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.